Welcome everyone. So, 6th edition of Container Days. It's every time feels like a big family get-together. So, what you typically do at a family get-together, of course, the most important stuff is a photo. So, I would like to do a photo from my phone, but for this, everyone, so that we all get a bit of motivation, stands up now. And 3, 2, 1, smile. Perfect, great. I hope now no one is sleeping anymore, so let's start. Yeah, our conference is called Container Days, and we all talk about containers and Kubernetes. And I think they're completely here now. There's no questions about, is it the right tool? Do we use it? I think we are all here because we strongly believe into this. But is this really the end? Or what comes next? So when we look into the evolution of containers, it all started, of course we know it, with bare metal servers. Somewhere in the 80s, 90s, Linux then was invented, and then VMware made virtualization popular. Then the first open source implementation was there with Xen and KVM. So, and already at that time, containers were existing, but a company called Docker made it 2013 really popular. So especially starting from the developer space, they start using it more and more. And yeah, we deployed it to individual servers. Then we started deploying it to more servers. And there was a question like, I need something else there. How do I manage this? And so Google announced Kubernetes, and we all started adapting it. So we started installing individual cluster. Like at that time, it was really hard to even like install Kubernetes. Then we start using more and more Kubernetes. So nowadays, potentially you have 2, 3, 4 clusters, potentially even 30, 40, 50, or if you're really big, 500 or even over 1,000 clusters. And the question is now, what will the future bring us? And what will come next? So if you look into especially the really successful digital companies, they are all cloud native. So they're really leveraging cloud native technologies, containers, and the whole logic around this to deploy and manage their software. But what is interesting is, even that the majority of companies are using containers already, even in production, only 5% of the applications are nowadays in production. So there's a lot of applications which are still running in a different way, virtualized, directly on bare metal, and there are even use cases where containers are potentially not a fit at all. But if you're looking into that our processes are getting more and more connected together, and I think the last 2 years showed us also with the pandemic, digitalization is really the way to success. We really need to think about what's next. So as an example, let's look at an e-commerce company. So I think they were one of the first adapters also of container technology, but what we primarily implemented there was mostly the web shop. So we implemented, even in a Microsoft architecture, the search, the back end, the front end, but there are many more things you need to take care if you're running an e-commerce company. You need to have some ERP running, you need accounting running, you need some logistic integration, and so on and so on and so on. So everything needs to be somehow connected, and especially if you're not developing in your individual silo applications, like if you need to develop across different solutions, like from the ERP to your web shop to the logistics software process, you need to deal with a lot of different tools and a lot of different ways how to manage the software. Oops. No. So we still have a lot of silos in our IT. So we have potentially the Linux servers. We have Windows servers. We have now Docker and Kubernetes. Then we have potentially front-end tools like Android or iPhone. And then we have a lot of commercial software, SaaS software. I only mentioned a few, SAP, Salesforce, Oracle. There are plenty of more. But when you look into how organizations are organized and how we develop software, it's typically really in silos. As a developer, if I really need to touch all of this, I have to deal with a lot of different teams, different organizations. And how is this done in a lot of cases still? I need to create a ticket. If I'm lucky and there is some automation behind this, potentially it goes fast. In a lot of cases, there's still a lot of manual work behind this. And then sometimes it takes a few hours, but it can even take 2 weeks until I get my change fulfilled, or even longer. So I think what we really need is a complete API-first mentality, so that I can request and manage all the different types of services I have in my organization via an API and not a ticket-based approach. So really, like the hyperscalers are showing it to us, you can get a database, you can get a Kubernetes cluster, a VM, or whatever. But in a lot of cases, we want to combine this to new services. So we build services and build services on top and compose them. And how do we manage this? How do we expose this so that others can also easily consume that? And I think this can really bring us into a world where one IT rules them all. So that it's not more, there's a lot of silos, so that we easily can build up new services without waiting on manual work from other teams. And this can then help also to speed up stuff, because on the one side, we are not spending on a lot of manual work. We really can scale over software and not over people. And I think that was one of the reasons why Kubernetes is successful, because we can now orchestrate much more containers, much more workload, without that we scaling with more people there. It's all managed by the software. And with this, I think our vision is really power through automation. So how can we help customers, or how can we help to automate without needing manual people? And based on this, how can we in the future build really autonomous systems so that they are, on the one side, are smart enough to repair themselves, but potentially even add the capability that they are smart enough to scale and learn how the behavior of the application is, and, for example, scaling up and scaling down depending on requirements. So if you want to learn more about this and want to see some first prototypes, how this could look like, more really on a technical level, join my talk together with Stefan Szymanski tomorrow, Tuesday, 2:15. I think it's in K6 here as well, but please check it. There we will show you some first demos, some first prototypes, and really looking also for your feedback, what you think, what's required there. And today I'm happy to announce, exactly at that time, we released our new open source community edition, Kubermatic Kubernetes platform 2.21. So feel free to try it out, and looking for your feedback. Thanks.